me share my screen with you guys. All right, perfect. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin right now. Hold on. My door's open. All right, we're going to be talking about order blocks. What do you guys kind of understand from order blocks so far? Or are you guys pretty in the dark about it?
In the dark.
Okay, do you have any idea what they kind of are? Because I've explained them a couple times, but some of you guys haven't been able to fully grasp what they are.
I would just say go over it entirely.
All right, cool. You guys can see my screen, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna switch to something I've never traded. Let's go to gold. All right, so let's say we're having a lowers lows, lower high trend right here, and then we get a break like this. Then we get a single push down and then break a structure up, starting higher highs, lower lows trend. Where would that order block be? Where would it be? Number 1 or number 2? Two? All right, yeah, correct. So when you get an order block, you're getting essentially, all order block is a push down before a move up. So when you're getting these push downs, you're essentially just getting a price movement down before a new trend. So a lot of times you'll be in a lower lows, lower highs trend. You'll have some sort of consolidation, one push down below the previous low. A lot of times there's a liquidity sweep involved too. Then you'll get the order block, and a good amount of times it ends up retesting the order block, filling back into that area before it goes all the way back up. So the chart would look more like that. But essentially what an order block is literally just a move down before the move up. So again, if we had a chart moving in higher highs, lower lows like this, and then we have this come here, where would the order block be?
It'd be that middle peak kind of.
Right here?
Yeah.
This one right here or this one?
I would say the one to the right.
The one on...
You'll say this one. This one?
Yeah.
No, so if we're in a bearish order block, which this is, it's the move up before the move down. So it'd be this one. So you're right first, Garrett. So it's this move up right here. That makes sense? So it's switched. Essentially, a lot of times too, when you're trading the order blocks, you'll get break a structure to the downside. A lot of times it'll involve a liquidity sweep with liquidity grab, a long wick candle, grabbing all liquidity, switching direction. You get your break a structure to the downside right here, break a structure, and then you're going to get, normally a retest back into this area up to here, and then boom, you break a structure to the downside once more, causing a lower lows, lower highs trend. So it's the push up or the push down before the new trend. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, perfect. Let's go into ES. Oh, it's actually a Bitcoin. All right, let's find an order block. Okay, this is a great example. So we have, let's start with, this is the daily time frame. Let's go on we trade the 15 minute the most, so I'm going to try to find one on the 15 minute. Boom. So an order block right here, perfect example. You get a major push up, break a structure to the downside, and you get that order block that we were talking about. If we zoom in here, this push up would be technically the order block before that push down. So you get a major push up, and then these are all under. That's why, it doesn't start here. Because if this wicked up, even a little bit farther, the order block would start here. That kind of makes sense or no?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get another trader in here. He's struggling to get in. All right, let's go show you guys another example. So as for order blocks, though, when you are getting the retestment, you guys have to, if you're trading an order block, great example right here. It's an order block with the liquidity sweep right here because we get a push below all the previous lows, especially these and these and these. So when you're trading the order blocks, let's say we have, we get on a smaller time frame. Let's see here. This is the push down before, the hefty move up right here. It would be. So here's your order block, and you get your retest back into it. So when you're trading these order blocks, if you're entering, your position, let's say you're going long off this order block and you're entering this position. Wait, this isn't even the right one. Sorry, wrong chart. Back here. This is the order block, the push down before the push up. When you're entering these positions, you want to put your stop loss under the order block because if it does end up breaking out, then it becomes a breaker block. So once this is fully formed and you have the breaker structure to the upside where you would normally take the trade, breaker structure here, and then you would, have a breaker structure around here, you would put your stop loss right under the order block, and then you would, obviously set your 1 to 3 like we talk about, and then you would catch the whole trade. Normally on these trades, though, I'm not taking a trade until I have really good confirmation, which would be a breaker structure of this point right here. If we're trading on the higher time frames, which we normally tend to do, I wouldn't be taking this trade till about right here. And then at that point, I'm setting my stops halfway through that order block. And, it would take a while, but I would end up hitting my full TP. And I believe we already took this trade. I think we took this trade live, actually. Yeah, last Thursday. Or is it this Thursday? Today's Thursday. No, yeah, this is last Thursday. We took this trade. But yeah, and then if you have an order block and you have a fair value gap for a high time frame, key area of liquidity, you can also base it off that. But definitely don't be going into trading order blocks and, putting your stop loss halfway through like this because there's a good amount of time they end up coming down and retesting where you'll get the order block and it'll break down off it and then come down, retest halfway through and then shoot up. That being said, though, if you do get an order block that bounces off, starts a new trend, and then comes through and totally devaluates it, it becomes a breaker block. And in that instance, it shows, the trend is weakening and you're going to want to, if you're thinking about going long right here, you have the break structure and everything, I'd most likely flip short or just not trade. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys have anything else? What questions do you kind of have with me, on the order block? None? Yeah, you guys got to speak because then after I'll get 100 texts from you guys asking questions. You guys can speak. I know you guys don't understand that. Wow. All right. I guess you guys are professional traders now.
You want to go over liquidity sweeps just for the one time?
Yeah, liquidity sweeps?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially when you're, getting a liquidity sweep, you're getting, let's say we have a chart at higher highs, lower lows, and then, let's say this is the recent high, and then the back end of this chart is creating higher highs, lower lows. This is the, the previous high, correct? All right, so this is let's put this at 112,000 for Bitcoin. When you get a liquidity sweep, you'll get a push of, either way, it doesn't have to be higher highs, lower lows into it. Normally it is. But you'll get a push above that key area, and then you'll get just a massive sell-off, filling all the liquidity. And normally there's momentum candles down here, fair value gaps, and it'll normally fill those or inverse those. But essentially what a liquidity sweep is a push above a previous high or a low, and then a grab of liquidity, then a change of direction. So normally when you get a liquidity sweep, my best way of telling them is when they also include a liquidity grab, which, price pumps up a lot, grabs liquidity and then switches direction to the downside, causing a new trend in a way. And that's also a similar case scenario as an order block because I use, liquidity sweeps and order blocks to dictate the trend. And then I use, fair value gaps and equilibrium to dictate, where price is going to want to seek out. So, I'm going to use the order block and liquidity sweep essentially. Let me draw it out for you guys a little bit better. So, previous high, boom, here, move up, and then like start a new trend. Here's my order block to move up before the move down. And then let's say we have, a fair value gap here. We have a fair value gap here that retest to, and then like let's say we have another one forming here. I know, price is most likely, since we're in a new trend due to the break of structure, we're going to probably want to, seek out these imbalances right here on the way down. A lot of times, when you see me take trades, if we go back over, ooh, I think I might have got rid of it. Oh, no, perfect right here. So a lot of times when you see me take trades, you'll see me mark out like the little circle. It's not always correct. Like here, I was wrong. But these liquidity grabs, like here, perfect trade. Here, normally when you have, a change of direction or a momentum shift, and normally, the first indicator I get is like a long wick up for liquidity grab, and then switches direction. It's grabbing all liquidity in this area. And, most likely these are all like stop losses or take profits. So, it's a huge sell-off, causes a chain reaction, and you end up just getting this big sell-off. It also could be caused by news and stuff, but, normally my first indicator of a liquidity sweep and order block is when we have these huge, wicks up, and then they ended up getting rejected. And then you see normally a massive sell-off, as you can see, like before, like even right here, it's not the biggest wick, but you have one. Let's see. Here, huge, large wick right here, and then a change of direction. If we go up here, large wick here, and then a change of direction. That makes sense? And then like same with here, and here.
Yeah, it does.
So when we're getting these long wicks, I'm going to be like, okay, price is grabbing liquidity because it wants to switch direction, but it needs the momentum and the power to do so. So when it's pushing up, especially when it's pushing up above highs, instead of me being like, oh my God, Bitcoin's at 112,000, like we're going to go to the moon, I'm like, all right, let's wait, for the rejectment. Let's wait for that liquidity sweep, that grab liquidity, and that change of direction, and I'm going to catch the downside, by 4,000 points or whatever, it could be. And then I'm going to be trading off that instead of trying to just trade with the trend and then guess it. Like I'm going to trade with the trend, and essentially like when I wait for the liquidity sweep, but I'm not going to trade off of hope that Bitcoin's going to the moon. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do you guys have any other questions about like any confluences or anything like that? You guys good?
Not really. This makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Do you guys want to see like an example of both or no?
Sure.
So like this is a liquidity sweep right here, as we already went over. But as in my strategy that you guys have in the private sector, like if, when we're trading any of these pairs, like what I'm looking for on a trading day is number one, like low news or no news at all. I like little news, like yellow folders, just to, peep the market up just a little bit, but I like low news, number one. Number two, I like good price action. I mean, everybody likes good price action, but I want to see the chart bouncing, so I want to see good moves. But when I'm coming in, like my favorite thing to see is, either a large push down below, like let's say the previous low is right here, or a large push up and the previous high was right here. Because then in this day, I'm going, okay, like many of the trades we took together, I'm like, all right, we're bullish for the day, but I'm going to be waiting, for that switch, for that break of structure to the downside. And I'm going to be waiting to take my entry here off, that liquidity grab that, wicks up. I'm going to take my trade off there and then try to catch this whole downside with a type stop loss. Normally we have a fair value gap that I base it off, and then we end up retesting and we normally end up winning. But yeah, so trading isn't really about where the market's going to go or where the market's going at that time. It's where it's going to go. So when you guys are basing these trades, I don't want you guys to base your trades on like where the market's going. I want you to base them on where you think the market's going to go, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the market could be freaking the most bullish market ever, right? Bitcoin could be at $150,000, $120,000, NASDAQ 24,000, like whatever. And, at those times, I'm waiting for a rejectment to the downside. Because I know I can't base, especially when we're seeking new highs, I can't really base and know, like, especially when we're day trading on smaller time frames, I can't know, like, all right, we're going to want to seek out level like 25,000 or 130,000 or blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't really tell. But when we've already been there, we've already repeated ourselves, day trading is all about just knowing where the market's going to go and, finding patterns that tend to repeat themselves. So if you can find that, anticipate that, then, you'll be a profitable day trader. That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right, boys. Does anybody have any questions? Garrett, you have a question? Hayden? Anybody? Gio? Zach? Carter?
Could you check out NAS 100?
Right now?
See if it's, yeah.
I will not be taking a trade, but yeah, sure, I'll check it out with you. The futures or the actual stock index? Well, we only trade futures, in crypto. So, like, here's a great example. So, here's the liquidity grab right here. If this were to reject to the downside on this 15-minute time scale and break structure down here, then I would know, like, okay, like, yeah, we're going to be, wanting to seek out these lows. Then I would jump to a higher time frame and be like, all right, what lows have we not suck out yet? I would go into here, be like, okay, let's see. My market opens, and I'm like, all right, let's target London session lows, London session highs. I'm going to target these lows here, and then these lows down here. So I'm going to be targeting these lows instead of targeting these highs, especially if we get that huge liquidity sweep and break structure to the downside. So now I know, if we are going to be waking up and then getting a major rejectment, I'm showing, okay, it's going to possibly want to switch direction. I won't be taking a trade just off that wick because, like all these before, it does happen. But if I did see, a break of structure to the downside, then I would know, okay, we're fully, change of direction or continue of direction technically. And, I would know, okay, I want to seek out these lows down here. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then everybody that's trading with me, use the market, open and pre-open lines. It just, like, helps, with, like, everything, honestly. And instead of having to, like, calculate the times, you can just have it marked open. You can really, it's way easier to find, like, London session open, New York session, Asia session, London session, like, whatever.
I have all that stuff on my paper trading set up right now.
All right, then, yeah, you're good.
Other thing,
Yeah, you're good. So, yeah, does anybody need anything else? We're going to be hopping on, another trade tomorrow, and we're going to be, possibly trading depending on news data, which I'll be uploading very, very, very shortly, which I'm actually going to check out right now. Let's see here. News data for tomorrow, the 20th. We are looking good to trade. We'll trade tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., same as every other day. Hopefully price action's a little bit better, but if we can't find an entry before 11, then we won't trade. But yeah, does anybody need anything else? Are you guys pretty good? Caught up with those confluences?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, then I go over, and I have definitions of every single one of these in my Discord. They are written out. You could obviously text me and be like, hey, like what do you kind of mean by this? But if you're ever like, oh, like, I don't know what that means, I have all the terminology listed in there, along with my entire strategy that I know a few of you guys that have been in for, a month, a couple months now, or at least a couple weeks, you guys have really gone over and seen. If you guys are newer, you guys probably haven't gone through it as much. But also the pre-market checklist, I want you guys filling that out every day. So go into that private sector and you'll see my pre-market checklist. I want you to email me that every day, okay? And then I also have, the market hours listed for some of you guys who are in other countries or states, California, or, some of you guys in Australia. So I have everything listed out for you guys. But besides that, do you guys need help with anything, or are you guys pretty good?
I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
What's like that big gap in between candles?
Where at?
Like at the very end.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
So, yeah, which I was explaining earlier, that's market opening and closing. So now if I go and click this, Boom. That's market opening and closing. So, at nighttime, after hours, or after hours, or like people are still putting in orders for the next morning to fill. So if 500,000 people put in a buy on the NASDAQ, it's going to cause the price to open up really high. Or earnings reports will cause the price to open up really high. There's a bunch of factors, but essentially it's just market opening and closing. That's why you get those gaps.
Oh, all right.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right, perfect, boys. Does anybody need anything before I hop off?
No.
Okay, then you guys that are in my inner circle, you guys can text me, obviously. I'll answer any questions. But besides that, does everybody understand liquidity sweeps and order blocks a little bit better?
Yep.
All right, cool. And then, Zach, how much are you up for this week?
On the funded?
Yeah.
I was going to take another trade today, but it didn't really go how I wanted it to, so I didn't, just to play it safe. So right now,
Good
I'm
job.
still at 23.
You're still $23 in profit. That's good. That's somewhere to start. That's only your first trade, and you've only been trading for a week, so that's profit.
And I made back that.
The 50 you lost on your very first trade.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully tomorrow we'll get an entry, but like I said, guys, I'm not taking an entry unless I get something that's worthwhile. Like I said, we have Victor over here trading a 300K actual real funded account, and other people trading, live accounts as well as me, trading my actual brokerage. So I'm not going to risk any money, nor yours or mine, for no reason. That makes sense? Perfect.
Whenever I get home, you want to hop on a one-on-one call and talk about that one trade I was going to take, maybe?
Yeah, just text me, okay?
All right, bet.
All right, perfect, boys. Does anybody need anything before we go, or are you guys all good?
I'm all good.
Okay, perfect. And then this is going to be all on YouTube tonight.
All right, bet.
So I'm going to post this whole thing on YouTube for you guys. I'm also going to be uploading lifestyle videos soon. And then I'll send a chat for what you guys want to see next. As for, Confluences, a YouTube video on that. But, as for that, this whole thing will be on YouTube. So if anybody who missed it, they'll be able to see it. As well as, that's pretty much everything for today. If you guys are all good, I'm good. You guys good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, boys. Zach, send me your trade. I'll update you with your trade. People who aren't in my, inner circle, you guys can DM me on here. But everybody else that's in the inner circle, just shoot me a text. We'll talk. And then if anybody missed this call, then, we can hop on another one right after this. But as for that, we're pretty good. Right, guys?
Yeah.
All right, Nico, do you want to hop on a call right after this?
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. All right, boys.
I'll text you whenever I get home, Dawson.
Yeah, Zach, text me, and then I'll also upload this on my YouTube channel, which is linked in here. So I'll see you guys right after that, okay?
All right, bet.
All right, perfect. Nico, I'm going to join back here in 5 minutes, okay?
Sounds good.
Amazing. See you, buddy.
Bye.